Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Nanda Sastya Purwaningtyas, and my student numbers are 211304265. And in this video, I would like to give my review about 7 videos that I have watched before. So this review was to fulfill my final examination, intermediate listening. So the first video was delivered by Esther Math. That video with the title "The Lost Art of Being Lazy." So I have made a little summary about this video. This video was explained to us the hidden advantages of being lazy. Being lazy has a negative connotation among most of the people. If we call by someone that we were lazy, they must think that we are unproductive and inefficient. So in her speech, Esther was said that being a workaholic is really overrated, stressful, and time consuming. Nowadays, people perceive laziness as a disease, and we all have been infected. I do infected too. Based on that video, a lazy person will find a lazy way to accomplish a challenge. In that video, I have learned that smart people actually use laziness as a resource instead of as a hindrance to productivity. And we can learn something about laziness in this video. If we want to change our world for a better innovate for the future, we all need to learn how to be lazy, because there's something else we can learn about it. So stop being so busy and allow our brain to relax, and stop to obsessing with over and over the news, to detach yourself from the workaholic mindset. And it might just be a best thing in our life and the best thing that we could do. So based on this video, I have concluded 4 questions related to that video. Well, the first question is, what is the benefit of being lazy? So the answer is, when we were lazy, we will have the ability to swiftly create something that can be a game changer. If we waste our time, it will be ruminating our tiny details that we might find the ship that we once hoping to board. In this type of lazy will progress faster than you could ever imagine, and not probably if you find a difficulty or some kind of troubles, and because there's no problem is ever too difficult to overcome. Second question is based on that video. There are several expert opinion about laziness. Who are they? Well, this video was explained that there are Bill Gates, Ben Franklin, and Albert Einstein. What can I conclude from this statement? From their statement actually? They were agree about they all have the ambition, but they need to find a way how to manage to do something in less work. So we've come to the third question. What kind of laziness that will bring you disadvantages in our life? So when there are type of lazy people who just serial procrastinator, who put the things off until the last minute and present some hard work, this kind of laziness will waste both our money and our time. Fourth question, what are 2 of the right lazy characteristic that explained in that video? If you really listen to this video, you will see that there is 2 of the characteristics that mentioned before. The first one is, the right kind of lazy person will look for an outside of box solution and for a creative solution instead of hitting their head against the wall, instead of trying to think really hard. And the second one is the persistence. The wrong kind of lazy person will persistently look for look for a way to avoid doing work that will persistently look for a way to speed up their jobs and ease it without sacrificing quality. So that is the first video. I'm going to next to the second video, which is came up with the title "Grit: The Power of Passion and Perseverance." This video was delivered by Angela Lee Duckworth, and I'm going to share the little summary about this video. So this video was explained to us the power of passion and perseverance in our life. Angela was explained her experience in searching the grit of every individual. Starting from her job as a teacher back then, she has been making a research that the IQ measurement are not important like everyone said. Angela best student and her worst student weren't having a much differences on their IQ, but in fact these concepts are not impossible, and she was firmly convinced that every one of her students could learn the material if they work hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, Angela came to the conclusion that what we need in education is much better understanding for students and learning from a motivational perspective and physiological perspective. And then during her observation, it always bring up a question from parents and teacher that Angela and her team was showing a data very clear that there are many talented individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data or in her data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measure a talent. So far, the best idea that I've got and I've heard about is building a grit is something called growth mindset. So growth mindset is a great idea for building a grit, but we need more. We need to take our best idea and our strongest intuition, and we need to test them. We need to know how far we've come to this part of our life. We need to measure that whether we have been successful or we have been willing to fail. I mean, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be failing, and all we can do is to start over again with the lesson learned. In other words, we need to be greedy about getting our kids greedier. So that is the Angela quotes. So in this video, I do make several questions, and I'm going to answer it for you guys. Okay, so the first question is, what is the most important one characteristic as a significant predictor of success and why? So the most important characteristic in this video is a grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for every long-term goals. Grit will sticking to us more than years, and it will and we will working really hard to make our future a reality. The second question is, based on that video, what do we need in education right now? As we know, we are in an education major, so I'm going to give a little example about this. So Angela will share her observation during her teaching period, and she was conclude that what we need in education right now is a much better understanding of student and learning from a motivational perspective and physiological perspective. The standard of IQ measurement aren't matter like we know, but most of the important in our ability is to learn quickly and easily in our life. So this day, IQ measurement is not really matter and it's not really important, but how the students will learn it really quickly and have a better understanding. Okay, so the third question is, why should we need to be greedy? So based on that video, Angela was saying that grade is usually unrelated or even inversely related to measure a talent. We need to take our best idea, our strongest intuition, and we need to measure whether we have been successful, or we have to be and we need to be willing to fail, like I have explained it before. Don't worry if you make a mistake. It is really okay in our life. And also, the last quotes that Angela have said is, we need to be greedy to make our kids greedier. So the last question, after Angela are no longer a teacher, she became a psychologist. What is the result of Angela and her team research in several places? Okay, so the one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success, and it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't appearance, it wasn't a physical health or even an IQ measurement, but it was a grit. Grit is a passion. Grit is passion and perseverance for a very long-term goals. Okay, so that is the video about Angela Lee Duckworth for grit, the power of passion and perseverance in our life. So we've come into the third video that came up with the title, How Global Virtual Communities Can Help Kids Achieve Their Dreams. So this speech was delivered by Matthew Garcia. Okay, so I'm going to share a little summary about this video, a little review of mine. So Matthew Garcia was sharing his experience on how he finally became a founder in developing the several virtual communities around the world. Matthew has really into classical music, but he wasn't have the actual access to it. Matthew was really really wanted to play a string instrument. So in the 6th grade, he got the opportunity to pick one instrument, and he decided to choose violin as his instrument. So even though in his middle school orchestra, the director was a fabulous bass teacher. He has a fabulous bass teacher, but she could only just teach him several knowledge about violin, because she is a bass teacher. Because there wasn't any violin teacher in his town, he turned to a teacher who seems to know everything, which is YouTube. Yes, we already know that YouTube is a platform that has a various type of videos that we can search everything, we can do everything, any tutorial stuff. So here, with a few difficult years of practice and the support of the entire community and people who really wanted him to be succeed, he began to play in places that he did never dream above, that we never dream of, like Carnegie Hall, and bring his music to the audience across 4 different continents. It's really amazing. And he didn't realize it had been one of the most difficult learning experience in his life, but if you connect them with the knowledge and resources they need to be thrive. Now classical music is incredibly competitive, and sometimes people with all resources don't even make music and don't even make it. And for many years, until the COVID-19 pandemic was come to us, hit our entire world became virtual. He saw an opportunity to help others learn music online, regardless who they are, where they live, or what they could afford. So he texted a few friends of his and from around the country to put together a founding team. They are reaching out to 20 other musicians that they knew and asked each of them to teach a free virtual private lesson a week to an underserved young student. And until it comes that he didn't realize it, but he did accidentally started a virtual non-profit. We didn't just use internet as a deliver our services, his organization that exists on internet, because their program was run entirely by volunteers from around the country who work together for a common cause, despite never meeting once in person. Because their student and teacher could learn from each other online, wherever they were, so geographic boundaries are not matter right now. Are no matter. This digital workspace mean virtually no startup of scaling costs. So if you have an idea of interest of how far to make a historical increase feel more equitable, grab a few friends. So this is a tip from him that we need to grab a few friends, brainstorming a way that you think you can break the barriers in your field and start a virtual non-profit organization. You may never meet the majority of the people that you will serve, but the effect of your hard work will touch them in ways and they will never forget. Alright, that is the summary that I got from Matthew's speech. So I'm going to the next session, which is the Q&A session. So the first question is, Matthew Garcia seems really into violin since he was little. Who teach him violin during his progress in learning violin in middle school? Let's take a look at his middle school background. So when he was in the middle school, there are only one bass teacher, and like we know, she can only teach several knowledge about violin to him. So he started to learn it from YouTube, autodidact. Like he learned it from he learned from himself, and he tried to mimic their techniques, incorporate them in his own playing. Okay, the second question: why his private violin teacher was told him to be quit? Yes, it because his teacher said that kids like Matthew who didn't start playing in an early age, who didn't have access to private teacher and the best resources, who don't understand, I don't know how how the classical industry really operated, and it will generally could not make it as a professional musician. That is the answer of his teacher. Is really surprisingly actually. The third question, let's move on. What did Matthew do during the COVID-19 pandemic toward the musical aspects? So he saw an opportunity to help others to learn music virtually. He made a founding team that reached out over 20 musicians that they knew and asked each of them to teach a free virtual private lesson a week. And to underserve the young student, he realized that virtual organization can help us better distribute educational resources. Okay, so that is my review about the third video about how global virtual communities can help kids achieve their dream by Matthew Garcia. And next, I'm going to review my fourth video about how to speak so that people want to listen by Julian Treasure. Okay, so I'm going to give my summary about this like usual. So this video, I think this video is a great and useful video that consists of several tips on how to speak so that people want to listen to us. This is a really helpful video that helped me bring in my weakness in speaking in front of a lot of people. There are a number of habits that we need to move away from, and he already assembled that there are seven deadly sins of speaking. So the first is gossiping. Gossiping is speaking ill of somebody who's not present. Second is judging. We know people who are like this in this conversation, it's really hard to listen to somebody if you know that you are being judged and found wanting at the same time. The third is the negativity. Negativity, like we know, like we were dealing with a lot of negativity in our life. So another form of negativity is complaining. Like we used to, we have complained about the weather, we have complained about sports, about politics, about everything. And but actually, complaining is a viral misery, like we all do. So next is excuses. Some people have a blame thrower, and they just pass it to everybody else and don't make responsibility for their action. And again, hard to listen to somebody who is being like that. Another form of seven sins that consists in speaking is lying. Yeah, we don't want to listen to people who were lying to us, right? And lastly is dogmatism, the confusion of facts with opinions, right? So these are the things that we need to avoid. And Julian also suggests us, if you want to make our speech to be powerful, we need to concern about these things spells a word. The word is hail. So hail is consists with H, A, I, and L. It has a great definition as well. The hail is something that we feel in our speech, which will attach someone to continue to listen to us. And these elements are the H. H is honesty. A is the authenticity. I is the integrity. L is the love. In addition, every people have some kind of toolbox in their body which will increase the power of our speaking. They are register, timbre, and prosody. We speak not very well to people who simply aren't listening in. Okay, so last word of him is, we speak not very well to people who simply aren't listening in an environment that's all about noises and bad acoustic. So that we, the one who need to change, is ourselves. Start to improving ourselves to be a better speaker so that people will listen to us fully. Okay, so based on this explanation, I came up with the questions, and well, I'm going to share it with you guys. So the first question is, mention 7 deadly sins of speaking that explained through this video. Well, there are seven sins of speaking that we need to avoid, which is, the first one is gossiping, judging, negativity, complaining, excuses, lying, and dogmatism. So there are 7, right? And the second question, explain the way how to make our speech become more powerful. So based on that video, it explained that there are 4 ways that could give you a hint to make our speech more powerful. Is the hail, HAIL. The word hail has a great definition and meanings, and we can understand it. Each of the alphabets meaning: H is honesty, A is authenticity, I is the integrity, L is for love. Okay, so third question, which part of toolbox that voice coaches that associate that with power and with authority? So this kind of toolbox is like explained before, we have 3 kind of toolbox, which is the register, timbre, and and prosody. Okay, so based on the video, it explained that there are 4 okay, this kind of toolbox is some engine inside our body, and this toolbox is register. So There are different techniques to in register developing. First one is the higher voice that use throat voice, which is where most of us speak from most of the time. But if you want little more weight, you need to use a chest or diaphragma voice. That's why we vote, because of the weight of our voice, we vote for politicians with a lower voice. But it's true, like, because we associate depth with power and with authority. Okay, so let's move on to the fifth video that came up with the title, "The Future of Machine That Move Like Animals." It was delivered by Robert Kazman. Okay, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. So I'm going to share a little bit summary about this video. So this video was explained to us how human contribution in developing a new technology in our world. Robert is a developer who will turn a machine that will look like an animal. In fact, he already made a fish based on the technology. As we know, a machine couldn't stand in water that long, but this creature could. Modern engineering focuses on rotating motors to power almost any machine. It has taken about 200 years for motors to become what they are today. And they are still loud and unnatural in their ways. The constant noise of machine cause problems for living beings everywhere, both in the ocean and also on the land. So Robert and his team was considering a boat or submarines that propel themselves by moving the tail from side to side, just like fish do. So to imitate this natural movement, they have to replace rotating motors or rotating machine and fast spinning propels with artificial muscle. They create a biomimetic robotic fish. So her name is Sophie. She is the first demonstration of the fully untreated soft robot that can explore the ocean without the need of propellers. It's really, really, really amazing. Sophie pumps water back and forth within a highly deformable tail. They were replacing that motor and pump, which is noisy and not desired in such a way, and they were replacing it with silent artificial muscle. This living muscle can eventually become sustainable and biodegradable machine that decrease emission and pollution, all while actually truly mimicking nature. So all of this, we as a human, we need to respect nature and don't pollute our world with loud noises. Okay, so that is the simple summary about this video. I'm going to share also the question and answer. First question is, where did Robert's teams conduct a research and what was the purpose? Okay, so their team doing a research at MIT and ETH Zurich and started to develop less disruptive robots by introducing a new biomimetic way of moving through water, and they are finally create a biomimetic robotic fish. It was really amazing for them. And the second question is, what kind of machine that produce and how did they impact in our life? So this kind of machine is the rotating machine that still produced a noise. The constant noise of machine causes a problem for living beings everywhere, both in the ocean and also on land. Humans who are constantly exposed to noises can become stressed, depressed, and also it will even develops our tinnitus. Alright, the third question, based on your opinion, what is the biggest point in Robert's speech? So, based on my opinion, I think he tried to developing a living muscle that larger, longer, lasting, and controllable. It is fascinating for them because it is a fascinating challenge to engineer a standalone muscle without supporting organism that provide this muscle with the immune system. This living muscle efficiently convert chemical energy that comes from nutrient into muscle contraction. Okay, so that is the fifth video review from me. Now let's move on to the sixth video review. So this video was came up with the title "A Colorful Case for Outside the Box Thinking on Identity" by Olivia Finkier. Okay, so Olivia is a unique person that have many kind of color in her surrounding. Actually, this wasn't really explained what type of color of the actual color. In fact, it means her race and skin color. So this is a sensitive idea that will bring up a lot of question in our mind, actually in my mind too. Olivia's parents are both have mixed races, and in her speech, Olivia was explained to us how does it feel to have different colors. By definition, race is the categorization of human based on physical and social qualities. The term was first used to refer to speaker of a common language or to denote national affiliation. Ever since he started talking standardization tasks and filling out online surveys, she has been asked to select her race. But as she got older, she realized that other are better reflected her multi-racial background. But the choice of others comes at a cost. She forced to think of herself as other or someone who doesn't exactly fit in. Like there's some sort of anomaly or evidence of doing something strange. At some point in the future, there will be more people choosing other than the handful of given boxes on those surveys. Through this ever-expanding rainbow is a beautiful thing. Having all of those people to have to categorize themselves as other in society is not that why she introduced us a new idea of racial categorization in the form of the open-ended question. It will be recognized a spectrum that is lacking in our world today. So that is my little summarize about this video. Next, I'm going to move to the Q&A session. So the first question is, why does Olivia prefer to be the other and wouldn't choose a single race? So because she is aware of secondary colors of the rainbow. So what does the other means? Well, the definition is literally someone who is different than one already known about. But these people who choose other aren't different. They are equal. So the second question is, based on that video, what is the definition of race? So race is the categorization of humans based on physical and social qualities. The term was first used to refer the speaker of a common language or to denote national affiliation. But by the 7th century, the term referred to physical trait, and it will be chosen based on our appearance. Okay, so the third question, explain the study of the scientist Alicia Trump about open-ended question. So Alicia Trans showed that an open-ended question provides an experience once deprived when being asked about race with only a few options. An open-ended question would give people an opportunity to express pride in their multiracial backgrounds. As our world continues to racially intertwine, we will reach a point where it will become impossible to categorize people by a handful of outdated and predetermined boxes. Okay, so we've come to the last video review. So my seventh video came up with the title, How Can We Escape Soaring Energy Bills and Stop Using Fossil Fuels by Tessa Khan. Alright, so this video is quite challenging for me to review it because it has consists of hard words and unfamiliar words for me. So this video was explained to us why did the increasing of a fuel price around the world. In the decades since the world became dependent on oil and gas, we have been through cycle after cycle of boom and bust, of crisis and recovery. In over several decades, we find ourselves once again in the grip of soaring fossil fuel prices that have exposed so many countries to deep social and economic strife. Instead of the usual cycle of crisis and then return to fragile status quo, this must be the last time that we are left so vulnerable. Okay, and the last year we have reached unprecedented clarity about the fact that there is no room for a new fossil fuel infrastructure, and if we are to have a decent shot of limiting the warming of our climate to 1.5 degrees. This warning have sounded against terrifying backdrops of climate chaos in several countries. Okay, so there's only way to address our energy affordability crisis is to address its root causes, and that is our dependency on fossil fuels. There is no common cause, not just across the climate movement, but across sector working on the inequality and poverty as well. While politicians and the fossil fuels industry proxies might in this moment and indeed are in this moment trying to double down on fossil fuels production as a solution to our sky-high energy bills, and they are about to find out in short order that in a moment that acute crisis like this, when millions of people are experiencing the impact in such material and tangible way. There is no room for peddling false hope, and from across the UK there are new movement emerging to make sure that we are never put in this position again. From campaign like Warm This Winter to Enough Is Enough, to movement to stop the opening up of the new oil and gas field, like Stop the Rosebank, to litigation and targeting advocacy. There is a wave of action coming to make sure that this is the last cycle. This is the last time, and this must be the last alarm bell to sound about the true cause of our reliance on fossil fuels before we step into a more safe, more just future for our world. Well, so that is my little summary about this video. Okay, like like I said before, there is a Q&A session. So the first question is, what is the climate chaos that caused by decreasing a new fossil fuel infrastructure? So the answer is, these warnings have sounded against the terrifying backdrop of climate chaos, which is Europe's river running dry, apocalyptic flood in Pakistan, savage warfare, heat and drought across the world. So that is the cause, the chaos from the decreasing the fuel infrastructure. Okay, the second question is, what does driven our warming climate? So the devastation brought by our warming climate driven by the burning of oil, gas, and coal. The last but not least, third question, what happened in the UK during the dependency on fossil fuels? So in the UK, millions of people are coming face to face with the desperate reality behind the term of fuel poverty. They have had stories about pensioners riding public buses all day to stay warm, of a local council opening warm bank for people who can afford to heat their homes. Before the UK government announced that it was going to freeze the unit price of energy in what is considered to be the single most expensive policy announcement since the Second World War, and 40% of people living in UK were expected to be in fuel poverty by the end of this year. Alright everyone, so we've come to the end from my 7 review video. So I hope this video are help for you. I hope you can get something from this video, and thank you so much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Goodbye.